The countdown has started, and nobody is prepared for what comes next. In the last 72 hours, a secret investigation into Elon Musk reached a critical turning point that will decide not just his future, but Gavin Newsom's entire political career. Behind closed doors, documents are being reviewed, witnesses are being questioned, and a decision is about to be made that will shake California to its core. What you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about this silent war between the most powerful tech billionaire and the man who wants to be president. Inside X headquarters in San Francisco, Elon Musk sat alone in his private office, staring at a 47-page classified report that had just been delivered by his legal team. The document, labeled Operation Golden State, contained details of a DOJ investigation that had been running in complete silence for months. Sources close to Musk confirm he read every single page without saying a word, his expression darkening with each paragraph. The investigation wasn't just about tax records or business practices. It went deeper. Federal prosecutors were building a case centered on allegations that Musk had used his position to influence state contracts, manipulate energy policies in California, and allegedly funnel millions through shell companies to avoid state regulations. The report contained bank statements, email exchanges, and testimony from anonymous witnesses inside SpaceX and Tesla. "They want to destroy me before I destroy them," Musk reportedly told his closest advisors during an emergency meeting that lasted until 3 in the morning. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what he meant. This wasn't about justice, this was about control. While Musk absorbed the weight of the situation, 380 miles south in Sacramento, Governor Gavin Newsom was having a very different kind of meeting. Inside the governor's mansion, with no phones allowed and security posted at every entrance, Newsom sat across from 3 figures: his chief legal advisor, a senior Democratic strategist, and someone described only as a liaison from Washington. The conversation was direct. "The DOJ is ready to move forward," the liaison said, sliding a folder across the table. "But you need to understand something, Governor. If this investigation collapses, if Musk walks away clean, the blowback will land directly on you." Newsom leaned back in his chair, his trademark confidence still intact. "Musk has been untouchable for too long. California deserves better than a billionaire who thinks he's above the law." But the strategist interrupted. "With all respect, Governor, this isn't about what California deserves. This is about timing. You're launching a presidential campaign in 6 months. If this investigation becomes public and fails, you'll look like a governor who weaponized federal agencies against a political enemy. That's not the optics you want going into 2028. Newsom's jaw tightened. The truth was undeniable. His entire political future was now tied to the outcome of an investigation he couldn't control. Meanwhile, inside the Department of Justice headquarters in Washington, senior prosecutors were finalizing the timeline. A whistleblower had come forward weeks earlier, a former Tesla executive who claimed to have documentation proving Musk had violated the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act by making unauthorized payments to officials in multiple countries, including deals that indirectly benefited his California operations. The DOJ team, led by a prosecutor known for taking down white-collar criminals, had been working around the clock. But there was pressure from above. Anonymous sources inside the DOJ confirmed that leadership wanted a decision fast. "We have a 72-hour window," one prosecutor reportedly said during an internal briefing. "Either we move forward with formal charges, or we close this and walk away." The stakes were massive. If the DOJ charged Musk, it would trigger the biggest legal battle in modern American business history. If they didn't, questions would explode about why such a high-profile investigation was dropped so suddenly. But the clock was already ticking. And nobody, not Musk, not Newsom, not even the DOJ, knew how this would end. Back in San Francisco, Musk made a decision. He picked up his phone and typed a message that would be sent to his 200 million followers on X within minutes. Interesting times ahead. Truth always wins. Stay tuned. The post went viral instantly. Millions of people began speculating. What did he know? What was coming? The pressure was building, and the world was watching. In Sacramento, Newsom's phone buzzed. An aide showed him Musk's post. For the first time that night, the governor's confidence seemed to crack. "He's baiting us," Newsom muttered. "He wants us to move first." "Or he already knows something we don't," the strategist replied. And that's when the real nightmare scenario began to surface. What if Musk had his own documents? What if he had been preparing for this exact moment for months? What if the investigation into him was about to become an investigation into them? Within hours, a second document began circulating in private Washington circles. It didn't come from the DOJ. It came from Musk's legal team, and it was devastating. The file, over 200 pages long, was titled Project Backfire. It contained financial records, emails, and meeting notes that allegedly showed a coordinated effort between Governor Newsom's office, the DOJ, and a network of Democratic donors to target Musk specifically because of his public support for free speech policies and his criticism of California's regulatory environment. One email, dated 6 months earlier, appeared to show a senior Newsom aide writing to a DOJ contact. "We need to find something. He's becoming too influential, and he's turning public opinion against the governor's energy policies. There has to be leverage. Somewhere." If authentic, the email was a political nuclear bomb. It suggested that the investigation wasn't driven by evidence of a crime. It was driven by political revenge. Musk's team didn't release the document publicly. Not yet. Instead, they sent copies to 3 people: a veteran journalist known for investigative reporting, a senior Republican senator on the Judiciary Committee, and, reportedly, someone inside the White House. The message was clear. If you come for me, I'm taking everyone down with me. At the DOJ, panic set in. Senior officials called emergency meetings to verify the document's authenticity. If it was real, careers were over. If it was fake, Musk would face charges for obstruction and evidence tampering. But the problem was simple. Nobody could prove it either way fast enough. "We have less than 48 hours to make a call," one DOJ official reportedly told the team. "Do we charge Musk and risk this becoming a scandal about us? Or do we back off and look weak?" Meanwhile, inside Trump Tower in New York, former President Donald Trump was being briefed on the situation by his advisors. Trump had stayed relatively quiet about Musk in recent months. But this was different. This was an opportunity. "They're doing to him exactly what they did to me," Trump reportedly said, pacing the room. "Witch hunt, total witch hunt, and everyone sees it." One advisor suggested Trump issue a public statement supporting Musk. Another warned that it could backfire, making it look like a political stunt. But Trump had already made up his mind. At 9:47 p.m. that night, Trump posted on Truth Social, "Elon Musk is being targeted by the same corrupt system that came after me. They can't control him, so they want to destroy him. The American people are smarter than that. This ends badly for Gavin Newsom and his DOJ puppets. Mark my words." The post exploded. Within an hour, it had been shared over 500,000 times. Newsom's name started trending nationwide, and not in a good way. Thousands of comments flooded in, many accusing the governor of weaponizing government agencies for political gain. In Sacramento, Newsom's team went into crisis mode. "We need to get ahead of this," his communications director urged. "We need a statement that distances you from the DOJ investigation while still looking strong on accountability." But Newsom knew the truth. There was no good move. If he defended the investigation, he looked like a tyrant. If he distanced himself, he looked weak. The trap had been set, and he had walked right into it. That's when the third player entered the game. Lina Khan, chair of the Federal Trade Commission. Khan had been investigating Musk's companies for antitrust violations for over a year, focusing on X's dominance in social media and Tesla's control over the EV market. But her investigations had gone nowhere. Musk's lawyers had blocked every attempt to access internal documents, citing executive privilege and trade secrets. Now, with the DOJ investigation collapsing and Newsom under fire, Khan saw an opening. If she could bring formal charges against Musk under FTC regulations, it would give Newsom political cover and salvage the broader campaign against Musk's influence. Behind closed doors, Khan's team drafted a 38-page complaint alleging that X had engaged in monopolistic practices by limiting competitors' access to its API and manipulating algorithms to favor Musk's political messaging. The complaint was aggressive, legally questionable, and designed to make headlines. "We file this, and the narrative shifts," one FTC lawyer reportedly argued. "It's no longer about a political hit job. It becomes about protecting consumers and competition." But there was a problem. Khan needed DOJ support to make the case stick, and the DOJ was imploding. Back in San Francisco, Musk was 3 steps ahead. His team had already prepared a counter-lawsuit, targeting both the FTC and the state of California for constitutional violations, abuse of power, and coordinated harassment. The lawsuit named Gavin Newsom personally, alleging that he had used his position as governor to pressure federal agencies into targeting a private citizen for political reasons. The filing was ready. All it needed was Musk's signature. "Do it," Musk reportedly told his lead attorney. "Let them know we're not backing down." The lawsuit was filed at 11:52 p.m., just hours before the DOJ's internal deadline to decide whether to charge Musk. The timing was perfect. It forced the DOJ into an impossible position: move forward and face a public legal war that would expose internal communications, or drop the case and admit defeat. By midnight, the situation had spiraled completely out of control. Musk's lawsuit was public. Trump's endorsement was trending. Newsom's name was being dragged through every conservative news outlet in the country, and the DOJ still hadn't made a decision. Then, at 1:34 a.m., a leak occurred. Someone inside the DOJ sent an internal memo to a reporter at a major newspaper. The memo, marked confidential, revealed that senior DOJ officials had recommended closing the Musk investigation due to insufficient evidence to support criminal charges. The leak was a betrayal. Someone inside the DOJ wanted the investigation dead, and they were willing to humiliate their own agency to kill it. Within minutes, the story broke online. DOJ set to drop Elon Musk investigation. Amid internal doubts, the headline read. The article cited anonymous sources confirming that the case had been driven more by political pressure than by evidence. Newsom's worst nightmare had come true. The investigation was collapsing, and his name was attached to it. At 2:17 a.m., Newsom's phone rang. It was the liaison from Washington. "Governor, you need to make a statement. Distance yourself now, or this destroys your campaign before it starts." But Newsom knew the truth. It was already too late. By the morning of the 3rd day, the decision was made. The DOJ issued a brief statement confirming that the investigation into Elon Musk had been closed due to lack of sufficient evidence to proceed with criminal charges. The statement was clinical, brief, and deliberately vague. But the damage was done. The closure wasn't seen as a vindication of justice. It was seen as a political defeat. Conservative media exploded with coverage, framing the entire investigation as a coordinated attack by Democratic elites against a billionaire who refused to play by their rules. Elon Musk posted once at 9:13 a.m. "Truth won. Freedom won. The people won." The post received 12 million views in the first hour. Musk had turned a federal investigation into a public relations victory. and Gavin Newsom was left holding the wreckage. In Sacramento, Newsom held an emergency press conference. Standing behind a podium, surrounded by California state flags, he attempted to control the narrative. "Let me be clear," Newsom said, his voice steady but strained. "I have always supported accountability, transparency, and the rule of law. The DOJ conducted an independent investigation, and they reached their conclusion. I respect that process." But reporters weren't satisfied. "Governor, emails suggest your office coordinated with the DOJ to target Elon Musk. Do you deny those allegations?" Newsom's face tightened. "I categorically deny any inappropriate coordination. My office operates with integrity, and I will not be distracted by conspiracy theories spread by people with political agendas." The press conference lasted 11 minutes. It solved nothing. If anything, it made things worse. Newsom looked defensive, and his denials felt scripted. Meanwhile, across the country, Donald Trump held a rally in Florida. Without mentioning Newsom by name, Trump spoke directly to the crowd. "You see what happens when corrupt politicians try to take down someone who stands for freedom? They fail every single time, because the American people are awake. They see the truth." The crowd erupted. Chants of free speech," echoed through the arena. Musk's name was mentioned a dozen times. Newsom's career, once seen as unstoppable, now looked fragile. But the final twist came 48 hours later. A journalist who had received Musk's Project Backfire document published a bombshell investigation. The report detailed a network of financial connections between Newsom's campaign donors, DOJ officials, and advocacy groups that had been pushing for investigations into Musk's companies. The article didn't prove a criminal conspiracy, but it didn't need to. It painted a picture of a coordinated effort to silence a political opponent. And that picture was devastating. Within a week, 3 senior DOJ officials quietly resigned. Lina Khan's FTC complaint against Musk was withdrawn without explanation. And Gavin Newsom's poll numbers in key swing states dropped by 11 points. The investigation, that was supposed to end Elon Musk's influence, had instead ended Gavin Newsom's presidential dreams, at least for now. Musk never gloated publicly. He didn't need to. The outcome spoke for itself. One man, armed with lawyers, documents, and an unshakable belief in his own narrative, had taken on the federal government, and won. And the message was clear. Don't come for someone unless you're absolutely certain you can finish the fight. Because if you fail, the consequences will be catastrophic. This isn't just a story about one billionaire surviving a federal investigation. This is a story about power, control, and the consequences of underestimating your opponent. Gavin Newsom walked into this battle believing he had the full weight of federal institutions behind him. He believed that Elon Musk, despite his wealth and influence, could be contained, investigated, and ultimately neutralized. He was wrong. What Newsom and the DOJ failed to understand is that Musk didn't just prepare a legal defense, he prepared a counter-offensive. He built a narrative, gathered evidence, and waited for the perfect moment to deploy it. And when that moment came, he struck with precision. The investigation that was supposed to destroy him became the weapon that destroyed his accusers instead. The fallout is still unfolding. Newsom's presidential ambitions, once considered inevitable, now look uncertain. Donors are questioning his judgment. Political allies are quietly distancing themselves, and the media narrative has shifted from holding billionaires accountable to political witch hunt exposed. Meanwhile, Musk's influence has only grown. His companies are thriving. His social media platform is more powerful than ever. And his reputation as someone who cannot be intimidated by government pressure has been cemented in the minds of millions. But this story doesn't end here, because the forces that went after Musk aren't gone. They're regrouping. The DOJ may have closed this investigation, but there are others waiting in the wings. The FTC may have backed down, but Lina Khan hasn't given up her mission. And Gavin Newsom, wounded but not destroyed, is still planning his next move. This is a war, not a battle. And wars don't end with a single victory. They end when one side has no strength left to fight. Right now, Musk is winning. But the next 72 hours, the next investigation, the next leaked document, any of those could change everything. You need to understand something. This isn't about left versus right. This isn't about Democrat versus Republican. This is about power versus freedom. It's about institutions that believe they have the right to control who rises and who falls, versus individuals who refuse to be controlled. And right now, that fight is happening in real time, behind closed doors, in conference rooms and courtrooms and private meetings that you'll never see. The only way you'll know the truth is if you stay informed, stay alert, and refuse to accept the sanitized version of events that mainstream media tries to feed you. Because they don't want you to know what really happened. They don't want you to see the emails, the documents, the coordinated campaigns. They want you to believe that investigations are always justified, that institutions are always acting in good faith, and that people like Elon Musk are just lucky. But you know better. You've seen what happens when someone fights back with the truth. You've seen what happens when the narrative collapses under the weight of evidence. And you've seen what happens to politicians who try to weaponize power for personal gain. So here's what I need you to do. If you believe that truth matters, if you believe that no one, not billionaires, not politicians, not federal agencies, should be above accountability, then you need to make your voice heard. Go to the comments right now and write these 3 words: truth always wins. Let everyone know that you're paying attention. Let them know that this story isn't over and that you're not going to forget what happened here. Then, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning. There are more revelations coming, more documents, more twists, and if you're not subscribed, you're going to miss the next chapter of this saga. Finally, share this video with 3 people. Send it to friends, family, co-workers, anyone who needs to understand what's really happening in American politics right now. Because the algorithm doesn't want this story to spread. They want it buried. They want you to move on and forget. But you won't, because you know that the fight for freedom, the fight for truth, and the fight against corrupt institutions doesn't end just because one investigation got shut down. This is your moment. This is your chance to be part of something bigger than yourself. Write it in the comments. Truth always wins. Subscribe, share, and get ready for what comes next. Because in 72 hours, everything changed. And the next 72 hours, they might change everything again.